Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Yes You Can podcast. It's been a year or two. Today we have a very special guest. We have Jolene here, who is our intern this summer. And a quick backstory: Jolene and I met back in Shatin College when we were teaching a 1-week filmmaking course. And if you've seen previous videos from EuCan, you know Georgie. So Georgie is Jolene's classmate. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Jolene and I'm currently studying in UBC as a student in the cinema studies course, and I'm interning here in EuCan for the summer, and I've been learning a lot and I'm really excited to see what else I can do. So I wanted to ask how you got into filmmaking, because you majored in engineering in university.
Yeah. So I got into filmmaking when I was really young. So when I was doing my IGCSE, so that's pre-IB, I got into theater. And then in my school, we didn't have film studies, but we had a photography club. So my love for theater and photography merged into filmmaking for me. So when I graduated IB, I made my own short film during the summer. And I fell in love with that form of storytelling. And in university, every semester, I would make at least one short film, and maybe some music videos. And that's how I got into filmmaking.
Cool. And how did you make so many connections? Like, even though you weren't, I guess, in the major and you didn't have classmates that were in filmmaking?
When you say connection, are you talking about connections with people in the industry or connection with clients?
Both.
I think connection with clients, actually, it helped that I wasn't in film school. In film school, I think you build a lot of connections with filmmakers. But because I was in engineering and I went to HKUST, a lot of people went to their business school as well. So a lot of my clients were actually classmates of mine or my seniors in university. So while I was studying engineering, I was also doing filmmaking, but they graduated from their business degree or engineering degree, and they went on to work at these big companies doing marketing, doing sales, and they only knew of one filmmaker. And that was me. So that's how I built my connection with my clients.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And it's so cool because you recently won Forbes 30 under 30. Congratulations. Do you want to tell us about your experience and how, I guess, the process was and how you found out you won?
So Forbes 30 under 30 isn't a random nomination. Someone has to nominate you. So in my case, someone nominated me from our team, and we didn't hear back from a year. Actually, it was just a joke. We did it for fun. And then a year later, someone from Forbes actually emailed us. John, his name is John, and I initially thought it was a scam because but it turns out it was real. And he asked if we can do 2 rounds of interviews. So I did 2 rounds of 45-minute interviews. And in the interview, they ask you questions to fact check whether or not you're who you say you are, whether or not you have awards or credentials, and they ask you pretty businessy questions to see if you are a valid candidate. And after they ask you all these questions, all these interviews, they have a whole bio page about you, and then they pass it on to the judges, panelists, one of which is Michelle Yeoh.
What? Wow.
Yeah, you knew that though.
I did not know that.
Okay, yeah. So one of the judges is Michelle Yeoh. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. So do you have any tips for young people who want to pursue a career in the arts?
My advice for anyone who wants to pursue a career in art is to think about it this way. In the real world, you're not just an artist, you're also a problem solver. And I think a lot of filmmakers or photographers, they come in with the mindset, we're going to create art, we're going to create beautiful pieces of a film. And in reality, no one's really paying you to make your artistic vision come to life. Your videos, your photos have to have a purpose. Why would they hire you to make something? You have to really think about it from a business perspective and how you can add value to your clients instead of just making it all about yourself. When you're making your own short films in school, that's great. Yeah, it's a creative outlet, but clients won't pay you so that they can be your creative outlet.
Yeah, that leads me into my next question. I wanted to know how you work with clients who have like a completely different artistic vision than you.
What would you Can you elaborate? What do you mean by different artistic vision?
Like if they pitch a project and what you had envisioned when you read the script is different to how I guess they expected it to be, then how do you kind of balance between what you want and what they want?
We can role play a bit. You can be the client. I can be Eugene.
Sure.
To illustrate what you mean.
Okay.
So you can start.
Here's our script on a commercial for a bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be very science fiction-esque.
Okay.
And you disagree.
Well, first of all, client.
Yes.
Why did you? How did you come up with the script?
Space is a trendy topic at the moment, and we wanted to appeal to young people.
I see. So space is a trendy topic, and your audience is young people.
Yes.
How do you know if it's going to work?
I don't, but that is my vision.
Okay. Is it important that this video works?
Yeah.
Okay. Then how about we look at what your target audience actually likes or what would appeal to them, and then if it's space, then we can do space. If it's not, are you open to pivoting to a different idea?
Sure, but what if a client isn't open to pivoting? Like, what if it's a stubborn client?
There aren't that many clients that will say, "Oh, we don't care about the impact. We just want space."
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
But you saw how I use very tactical questions to navigate the script, because I wasn't assuming anything. I wasn't assuming that the youngsters like space. I didn't talk down on their idea. I was just checking their logic. So I mean, in the future, if you have like a client, let's say it's a bottled water, and they want to do space, it's important for you to understand why, but more importantly, for you to ask your client to see if their logic makes sense, because a lot of the times it might not.
I see. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then my next question is if you have a favorite project that you've worked on throughout all the years.
Throughout all the years.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I think my favorite project to date is probably the Risk of Driving music video. And we don't do that many music video, maybe like 2 or 4 a year. But normally it's quite rewarding. And I think the Risk of Driving from a cinematography, from a directing point of view, and from like the entire process was just so creative and so fun.
Cool. I'll give it a watch later.
You haven't seen it?
No. Yeah. What was your biggest challenge kind of kickstarting EuCan as a university student? Because that's when you started, right?
Yeah, so I started EuCan in 2016. That's my second year of university. The biggest challenge, I think, was scaling it. The reason why I started EuCan was because UST saw my short films and asked if we can do promotional videos for them. And then they said, "Oh, if you don't have a company, we can only pay you student wage." And I'm like, I don't want student wage. I want to get paid properly. So I started the company like that. But I think afterwards, it was hard for us to get, hard for me to get like an income that I can sustain myself off of. So I had to run a lot of part-time jobs, whether it's tutoring, shooting like events or like weddings or startups, on top of whatever I was doing for EuCan to make a living. So I think it was financial stability in the beginning. And then now I think it's having a steady pipeline of projects and clients that we can be proud of.
I see. And is there anything currently that you're nervous about?
Quite a few things. I think I'm nervous about 2 things. This year, the economy has been pretty rough, especially because we specialize in working with finance and tech sector. So I think what I'm nervous about is the influx of work and the it's like a roller coaster. Certain months, as you know, May has been like packed. Everyone's like quite not burnt out, but everyone's quite tired. And then I think July is going to be like a slower month, and then it's going to pick up again. So I think what I'm nervous about is like this unsteady stream of work, and also just getting enough talent to work with us on these projects.
I see. What do you think is a common myth or misconception about your work that you would like to address?
As a filmmaker or as an entrepreneur?
As a filmmaker.
Can you repeat the question?
Is there a myth or misconception about your work that you'd like to address?
I think a lot of people, when they begin filmmaking, they focus on cameras and lenses, and those are great. But I think what they really should focus on is either sound or lighting. If you're just a cinematographer, I don't think your lens or your camera will make that big of a difference these days. But I think lighting can take you really far. If you don't have great lighting, I don't think any camera or lens will matter. And also, if you're doing a film or a promotional video with a small crew, if you don't have great sound, it's most people aren't going to watch it.
Yeah, I think being on set with EuCan, the importance of like lighting has been one of my biggest takeaways, because we spend so much time on setting up lighting over anything else.
Yeah. What's like the biggest surprise or like something that shocked you in your month of interning with us?
Honestly, I think lighting, like how big of a difference it can make.
Okay.
Like there's just so many different effects you can achieve with just manipulating lighting and nothing else. Like how when we were filming at CIS, it was like so gloomy. It was just not a good weather day.
Yeah.
And that shot, especially in the art classroom, excuse me, the lighting made it look so sunny. Like it looked like natural lighting. That was really cool.
Yeah. Lighting can transform the entire film.
Yeah, absolutely. And after talking about misconception, what about your job as a filmmaker might be the most interesting, I guess, to everyone else that they might not know? That was very badly worded.
Go again.
What's the most interesting part about your job?
Compared to who, or just in general?
I guess compared to like a typical conventional job.
Okay. I got this. So it didn't really hit me until recently, but filmmaking is one of the few jobs that has the deliverable. So at the end of the project, or at the end of the client engagement, or we have a final video to show. It's you can see it. And what I realized is a lot of my friends who work in consulting or sales or marketing, their deliverable is like a PowerPoint deck, or it's just numbers or a contract. And I think it's so cool that we have such a dynamic deliverable at the end of it, and that we can say a lot of people have worked together on this one single project to make it come to life. I think that's that's one of my favorite parts about being a filmmaker.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you ready for some questions?
Yes.
Now that you've interned for 1 month and you've been to UBC for a year, do you have any regrets, or are you still certain on your path on becoming a filmmaker?
I'm still pretty certain on my path to do something related to film or be in the industry. I think being in Canada and having to, I guess, be financially responsible, and just, budgeting for, accommodation, food, other stuff. It's kind of made me realize life is very expensive. And sometimes I do get worried, because it's kind of, I think it's quite hard to make it in the industry without at least getting like a couple part-time jobs, especially when you're just starting out, like you said. So I think I'm more open to I guess, jobs that aren't what I initially expected myself to be getting into. Like, I've been thinking about the possibility of maybe starting as perhaps like an IB film teacher, and then kind of doing my own projects on the side until I can kind of support that.
Would that be in Hong Kong or would that be in Vancouver?
I haven't given too much thought about that yet, just because I think I prefer kind of the working environment in Vancouver, but also my family is in Hong Kong. I think that's like my biggest
But you know, to
struggle
become an
between-
IB film teacher, you need a high school secondary degree diploma.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah.
I think that will happen if this is still something I'm considering by the end of my graduation. I can spend
Okay.
time on.
I mean, it sounds like you just discovered what adulting is, right? Like the budgeting and the finance and the
Yeah, I think it's also because you know, just seeing what all of my friends do. And I mean, going into film in the beginning, I knew it wasn't gonna be like the most stable job ever. Like, I expected that maybe I wouldn't have the kind of stability that my friends who are in engineering would have. But I think it's also kind of scared me a little bit. While I was in Canada, I was like, oh crap, maybe my dad was right. Like, maybe the lack of stability will actually be a problem when I'm an adult, which is why I think that I'm trying to kind of just keep my options open and not be too stubborn.
What are the other options?
Like other forms of filmmaking that I didn't think I'd get into, like even just commercials.
'Cause, I mean, you said you want to keep your options open in case. Yeah. So what are the other options?
It'll still be film related.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, because I think when I was initially applying to university and going to university and everything, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be on movie sets or TV sets. But I think that is kind of not unrealistic, but idealistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that it's important to kind of just be happy with what I can get and then kind of work my way up from there.
Yeah, it's important to pivot when you realize
Yeah.
like something's not going to work out for you. Okay.
But I'd say I'm quite like a stubborn person, so I don't think like no matter how far I pivot, I don't think it'll be too far
So
away.
it'll still be
from
film.
It'll still be film.
So are you going to change majors?
No.
Because you're in cinema studies and not film production.
Yeah. I think that's another part of it. Like, I'd happily write cinema, like movie reviews, blogs,
Okay.
articles like that.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. And you don't know what kind of role you would specialize in yet?
We talked about it, I think, maybe the first day I came into the office and we got lunch. And you asked me, like, what are some strengths or traits that I have? And you said that I would perhaps make a good AD.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now I also think you might make a good PD, production designer.
Yes. So those weren't really things that occurred to me before I started working here, but just being on set and I guess seeing everyone in their element, I kind of agree that I do enjoy kind of more I think roles where I have more of a guideline
Okay.
instead of what I initially thought I would like to do.
Okay. I mean, speaking of being on set, what is being on set with us like? Because you've been on set at in high school, in university, and now at EuCan. So what's the experience like?
Just like the difference between like the sets I've been on.
The difference, the expectations, something that didn't occur to you.
Surprisingly, I think the films I've made in university are probably the least intricate, like not like unprofessional, but kind of just you have the actors, you have a camera, and that's it. I think a big part of it is because I'm in cinema studies, as you said, and not film production. So I just don't have access to all the kinds of equipment that those students have. But I also think what we learn in university, at least right now in first year level or second year level courses, they're really surface level. They don't really dive deep yet into how to make a good film. They cover the fundamentals and that's it. But in IB, I think our teacher had high expectations for us. So even in IB, I invested in like an LED lamp kind of like stick that I kind of used in my sets.
Okay.
And here, obviously, it's a completely different environment. You have everything. And I've learned more on set here than I have compared to like anything I've done in school.
Okay. So would you say 1 month of being on set with us is equivalent to like 2 years at UBC?
Okay, I haven't been 2 years at UBC.
More than 1 year though?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. EuCan University. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Should we take a quick break?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's cut.